coming on.
Of course. Thanks for reaching out and inviting me.
Well, I can't take any of that credit.
Let me see. Where'd my thing go? I was ready and then I wasn't ready. Let me see. This is episode 118.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Hold that thought.
So are you an investor also or realtor exclusively?
Both, yeah. So I'm actually about to get my first investment property this year. I'm so excited in Hampton.
Okay.
Cool.
So it's like a college rental?
Yep. Yeah.
That's
right out in Hampton.
I like it.
I'm excited. It'll be my first one. So.
Yeah. We'll talk about the numbers on that. Sometimes I like to not know.
You're gonna like this one.
All right. So
the numbers are pretty great on this one.
All right, cool. But did you do you own a property that's your personal residence also?
No, not yet. That'll be my first one.
Okay.
Still at Hampton University.
This is cool. You said you went to school at Hampton?
I'm still there. Yeah, I graduate in 2020.
You're still in school?
Yes.
Wow.
I just turned 22 in
Wow.
So.
Social media is crazy.
How old did you think she was, Charles?
Well, I knew she was young. I didn't know she was still in college young. She was like breaking down like all these different loan programs and stuff. I was like, she's on it.
Look, give the credit to my mom. She's been in real estate since 2003. So I've been exposed to it for a while. I just didn't get my license until I was 18.
Okay. That's really cool.
I'm sorry.
Right. I can't see you though. We can't see you, Rashana.
Okay, give me 1 second. I had to get my mic because the last episode my sound was way off.
You weren't using the microphone? You could tell the difference in sound?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You were like in a garage or something.
I was not in no garage. What are you talking about?
It was, the sound wasn't that great though.
Well, I hope I can oh, you gotta turn it on. Okay, wait. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry. Can you make sure you edit all of this out?
Yeah.
He'll put this on YouTube, like all of this.
People love it though. We got to get these.
I'm back.
All right, let's do it. This is gonna kick it off. Straight fire.
Me, all good.
Yeah, I have one question for you. All right.
For me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. This is the Todd Capital Millionaire Podcast, episode 118. My name is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, the founder and the director of the Todd Capital Investment Club. We have like a lot of members. I lost count, but great things are happening. Also with Todd Acquisitions, should be closing on the triplex. Also should be doing some good work on our Tracy property and getting the barbershop on the road officially. Make sure you leave us a rating or review, preferably a 5-star review. Rashana Scott, can you share with us anything that you have that's really cool that's going on really quick, briefly?
Yo.
Looks like you got like a cover.
I'm trying to think what I got going on. Oh, I sold a property the other day, the flip property that a lot of you guys saw that I posted online with the cool shower head in the bathroom. So that property sold the other day. So
And she's been resurrected.
That was the recent win.
She's back from the Instagram dead. This is great. Hey, thank you all for tuning in. The purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful African-American business owners and investors. We believe that business and investing are team sports and also the key to generational wealth and financial success. With us today, we have Miss Lauren Kingsbury, also known as Real Estate Baddie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Man, it's so funny. Like, I saw you pop up and then I see you all the time now. So you're doing.
That's how these algorithms work, especially on Instagram.
Yeah. So can you tell us who you are, where you're from, and how you got started in real estate?
Of course. So I am Lauren Kingsbury. I currently am a student at Hampton University, and I major in business administration. I'm about to graduate in 2020, so I'm very, very excited to do that. I'm from Maryland, and what I do is I created the Real Estate Baddie because I attained my license at 18. So what the Real Estate Baddie brand does is it encourages young adults to learn about the real estate industry, whether they want to be a real estate agent or if they want to be an investor. And what we do is we host Millennials Moving Out, Your Guide to More Money and More Freedom on HBCU campuses. So we connect the students with active real estate agents, lenders, and investors. And actually our last one, we had Kendra Barnes, the key resource. She was a really good special guest, but that's what we do with the Real Estate Baddie brand. We encourage young adults and my peers, my friends, to learn about real estate.
That's dope. That's really cool. It speaks to a lot of my passions.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, though, because we talked about this a little bit before, but how did your mom motivate you into getting into real estate? Can you talk about that?
Of course. So when I was in high school, I worked at Six Flags, and I was making $7.25 an hour, and I was working very long hours. So what I would do is my mom would say, hey, we have a lunch and learn. So I was like, okay, there's free lunch at the office. I'm going to go get some free lunch. I wasn't thinking about real estate. I wasn't thinking about learning about real estate. But then I sat in a couple of events, and I started learning about commercial real estate, residential contracts, and sales contracts, and it really started to intrigue me. The one meeting that really changed my perspective on real estate and that really got me interested in getting my license was a team meeting. And I started seeing what the top 10 agents were making, and I was like, okay, $7.25 an hour, or maybe a couple thousand each commission check. So I went up to my mom and I was like, hey mom, like, how can I get into real estate? And she was like, go get your license and then we can talk. And so then I went, and I was 17 at the time. So I just started studying and I took the course, but I couldn't actually sit until I was 18. So I sat for my national estate my freshman year at Hampton. I got my license, and then I started working under her, doing open houses, things like that. And then it was just on from there. And then I started getting in the educational piece about educating my friends about it with the consumer education events. So that was my interest in it, just switching from my Six Flags job and understanding that there was more to it, just learning about investing and things like that. Mm-hmm.
So I think what's interesting is, like, most people, when they get into a position like that at that age, they might use age as an excuse. So they might be intimidated because of their age. Yeah. How did you get over that?
Yeah, so that was definitely a challenge. The average real estate agent is 52 years old. And so with me being 18, I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to because you can either look at it, like you said, as an excuse, or you can use it to your advantage. So what I did, I used my technological savviness, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm good with technology. I'm good with social media. So what I did to get to know the agents in the office is I started building social media profiles. I would sit in the office and I would just say, hey, I can get your profile, because at Keller Williams, we have to get our profiles to 100%. So what I did was I said, hey, I'll set up your Twitter, your Instagram. If you can mentor me a little bit in real estate, give me your seasoned agent experience, and then I just came from contribution. So that's how I did within the office as a young adult. I had to make sure I was able to gain that experience, because real estate is all about experience. Like, you can read as many books as you want, but if you don't have like hands-on experience, then it doesn't really correlate. So what I did is I used it to my advantage with my tech skills.
I love it. Like, you saw obviously a hole, a gap that needed to be filled, and you filled it. You use your youth to your advantage. So, which is very wise for a lot of people to do. I think so many people look at age as something that can hinder you, but you know, you are obviously like, hey, this is something that I can do, and now you now you've shown that you can be someone of value, and I'm sure it helped you in just growing your career, because now you've started all of these different relationships that you probably would not have had, you know, and now you're able to go and even talk to, you know, some of the best agents in the office and ask questions about, hey, I got this situation with this contract or with this, you know, with this client or whatever the case. So, I mean, I think it's brilliant. Kudos to you for, you know, seeing that void and going and filling it and, you know, providing a solution.
Welcome back, Rashana Scott. This is so great. You're back with us. No, but there's two things that you said that I think are super cool. And a lot of times we only
I'm back. Where did I go?
you just fell off on us. We were like, where was Rashana? I mean that with all due respect. You really were gone on us. Because Instagram is like the real world now. If you're not on Instagram,
you
so
know,
anyway.
Some people listening to this podcast probably don't even know what happened. You can't just throw it out there and halfway get them the story. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I took a little social media break. I was off Instagram for about 5 days, and clearly Charles missed me a lot. So back to the podcast. So back to Miss Lauren.
What I was gonna say that was really dope, and we've talked about this on prior shows. We talked about this more so in regards to entrepreneurship, but it's the concept of coming from a place of contribution. Yep. And a lot of people don't realize like that can not only progress your business, but it can also progress your career. A lot of people, they go into the office and they're like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And if it's outside of those bounds, it's not in my job description. Right. And so I think that that's dope that you use it to kind of help propel your career, not just your professional endeavors. Another thing that I think was really dope, and I think we should use, not just in regard to age or race, but this idea of using disadvantages to your advantage. And I think it goes across the board. It's not just, age. It's not just like, I'm an African-American woman. Like, no, like every single thing that you think is a disadvantage has to be flipped on its head and turned into an advantage. So I think that was really cool that you said that. You have a lot of principles that I realize are going to take you very far, even at a young age. Like one of the principles I want to talk to you about is just this idea. I'll never forget, I was watching like an Instagram live, and you said something about like, if anybody ever asks if somebody wants to speak, I'm always going to raise my hand and speak.
Yeah, that's right.
How has that helped you, and why do you have such confidence?
I mean, that has helped me in so many ways. At Hampton University, I was just always, I think it's got me really far. Like it's got me roles, positions, because I'm not afraid to be wrong. And that's one thing that I've learned throughout, of course, just being at Hampton, throughout my lifetime. I've learned that a lot of people don't want to be wrong. They don't want to make a mistake. So I'm like, I'll raise my hand. I'll let you know what's going on, even if it's not the correct answer. Because being someone that does that, you just never know who you're encouraging. You never know who's in the room with you. So I feel like if you exude confidence in any room that you go in without, with always being humble and having humility. But if you do that and you have experience, like why not be confident? Because as a young agent, I have to be super, super confident. Like every day somebody, do you own a home? Do you own? And I'm just like, I'm always transparent about going through the journey. So I'm letting my peers, my friends know that, hey, I'm bringing you guys along with me during my journey to homeownership, my journey to getting my first investment property. And I'm teaching everyone along the way. So as I learn, I teach everybody what I know. So that's why if you have a question, because I was at the HBCU Realty event, and Torrance was like, hey, has anybody had a real estate transaction that didn't go their way? Everybody was like not raising their hands. So I was like, and then that's why I said that, because he was like, yeah, you raised your hand, so we got to connect. Like things like that where we just develop relationships, you just never know. And I think it's cool to be open-minded, and it's okay to raise your hand and not always be right,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons in that too, because I actually know people who feel as though they got to have it all the way together before they can help people. And that's like the strangest thing to me, because if I waited, you know, and I had to stop and think about it. If I waited until I had it all together, because I still don't have it all together, right? But if I waited until then, how many people would be left uninspired, right? How many people would not have the information that I have and the knowledge that I share and everything that I give, right? So in a sense, I think it's selfish, but it also goes a little bit deeper than that. I feel like in our community for so long, unfortunately, we've become familiar to the stunt, right? And so many people been out here stunting and not really doing it for real, you know, doing it where it matters, right? Doing it where it matters. So in hindsight, you know, we take that and we look at that as a negative, right? Like, oh, well, I don't have my first investment property yet, but that doesn't mean that I won't have a conversation with someone who I think is in position to purchase, right? Yeah, but there's some lessons in that, definitely. If you know more than the next person, then that's all it's about. You know, helping everyone move the needle a little bit further collectively.
Right. Can you talk to us about your first real estate transaction?
Yeah, so actually my first real estate transaction, it was an investor. And it actually, like, everything fell through. It wasn't even, there's no success story at the end of this. It was my first transaction. And what happened was we presumed, you know, he was an investor, and he basically put all these offers out at like one time. And all of them were, well, like some of them would get accepted, some of them wouldn't. And we were just we were like power mode, just writing contracts. Everything was just going super quick. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is how real estate is. I'm getting to it. We're about to have all these things closed. It's going to be super fun. My mom was always telling me, like, do not get emotionally attached to these transactions. Like, do not always think that this is just going to be easy breezy and, you know, all these will close on time. Just be aware of potential, you know, mess ups or something to go wrong. So I didn't really listen to her. I was like, Mom, whatever. We're about to have 10 transactions at the end of the year. We're going to have, at the end of the month, and it's going to be super fun. Like, I just walked away from everything, from every single transaction. And I wasn't devastated, but I definitely was like, my mom was right. Cause she just had an inclination. She was like, Lauren, don't get too excited about this. Like, just make sure you keep stuff in the pipeline and understand that you should not be getting emotional about these transactions. That was my first, and it was a roller coaster because of how quick everything moved. But what I really learned is assessing the criteria of investors, like assessing their financial situation, and learning about the life cycle of an actual transaction. Like, it really opened my eyes to a lot, because I just learned about contracts, writing up contracts in the most efficient way with one client. It was pretty cool. So I think it was definitely a learning moment for me. That was my first transaction ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me dive into that a little bit here, because I don't think ever since I've been on here co-hosting, I don't think we've had another realtor on. Have we?
Nope.
I don't think we have.
Not since Jane.
Oh, cool.
Right. Well, Jane don't really count. But so you're 22, you got your license at 18, and immediately you could start working with buyers and sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. I just want to clarify that, because in Illinois it's different. You can only work with landlords and tenants at 18 until you turn 21. But I think they actually just changed that back. But anyway, so at 18, you jump right in and you are getting familiar with these contracts and things like that. So are you on a team, or you just started by yourself?
Yeah, I'm on a team with my mom. So my momager.
Okay, with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and your mom is also a Keller Williams.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and so I want people to listen to that, because a lot of times I get I guess, questions from a lot of realtors who are trying to make it and just starting out in this business, and they're trying to do it by themselves. Now, granted, you know, your mom is your team lead. However, being on a team, period, can definitely be effective. And obviously, you know, your real estate journey, for one. The second thing is that your very first client was an investor. Like, so many people are asking me, like, how do you work with investors? How do you attract investors? Because the majority of people, their first client is not an investor.
I know.
Everybody wants to work with investors because they're cash buyers and, you know, all of that. And what does that look like today? Like, are you still working with investors, and what's your take on that?
So it was funny because after that, all the investors that we received as clients were the bomb. Like, after that, it was really like a learning experience. And then we had an influx of, you know, people that were just concrete investors. And so right now we have a lot of two-part transactions. So a lot of sellers that are also buying. So it's a mix right now. Like all the listings that we have right now, there are people that are buying properties as well. And it's a seller's market. So their houses went under contract.
Right.
Yeah, they're
But you better double bubble.
with their houses went under contract within like 3 to 4 weeks of us putting them on the market, and then they found something else. So it's been a pretty cool summer to see a lot of the dual-sided transactions.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Charles is in LA. He don't understand.
So, you know, what does that mean? Like, how do you like have a seller and a buyer? And
yeah. So
break it down for him, girl.
So currently, we have a client. She wants to move, so she's selling her property, and she's also buying another property because when she moves out, her and her family want to get a bigger place. So it's a two-part transaction. So we represent them as a seller, and we represent them as the buyer of another property.
wow.
So yeah, pretty much they'll probably close on the same day, just so that once she switches, she goes to settlement, she can move into her new property that day.
You get commission for both transactions.
Yes.
Wow. What's interesting is you guys mentioned this whole team concept. So how does that work? Like you work with an older broker or older agent, and then you guys work the same deals and you market the same deals. How does that work?
Yeah. So currently with our team, because it's me and my mom and my brother, what we do is we have leads. So we have a CRM, it's called Sync, that we use. And so the leads that come in, we divide them up. So if, let's say there's 15 leads, I'll get 5, she gets 5, and he gets 5. And usually my mom is like, hey, look, I'll give you my 5 because I don't feel like following up. Like, I usually do most of the legwork because I am a new agent. I'll do the open houses, I'll do the showings, any legwork that I really, wouldn't really want my mom to be doing every day. She can be, following up, converting, all that good stuff. So what she does is uses us as leverage because we're newer agents. So it just teaches us with hands-on experience. So we split the leads, and then when commission comes, it's just we split it based on how much work whoever did on that transaction.
Mm-hmm.
If my brother didn't do any work on one transaction, he wouldn't get paid on a commission. But there would be, ones where I don't work, but he works them and he gets paid his commission. So that's really how we split it up. It's pretty fun, family business.
Like it.
I love it. Legacy. So this is an older brother, younger brother?
Yeah, older. He's 10 years older.
Okay. So who works harder between you and him?
We work the same amount. We work that's so funny because he got his license after I got my license. So
you inspire him.
Yeah, he's very he's a poet and he writes really, really well. So he's very detail oriented. So when it comes to contracts, when it comes to our social media, he does a lot of marketing. He does a lot of proofreading for contracts. And then with me, I do a lot of speaking. So we both have different contributions to the team. So I would say we both bring in the same amount of power to our team. Because my mom doesn't play. She's like, look, if you're not contributing to this team, you gotta figure something out. Like, you could be our transaction coordinator if you wanna, do something like that. And so with me, I do a lot of speaking, follow up, a lot of converting. I'm basically just assuming the role of what my mom was doing without us. so that she doesn't have to be here to run, so the business can run without her.
I feel like that's so fire, because that's what it's supposed to be. Boyce Watkins has this quote, and he was saying, like, typically what happens is you have this family, and one person goes and works for one guy's company, another person goes, works for another guy's company, another person goes and works for another guy's company, instead of pulling all that effort and energy in-house. And the beauty of that is it just goes so much further, and then you're building something that nobody else is really getting the profit on. I mean, I guess kind of, because you guys might have to like piece in whoever like the big dog is. I don't know how that works. But basically, like, if you're building your own business, that's just how what they're doing is what you're supposed to do. Like, that is it. The mom works for the kids work for the mom, and everybody eats. Nobody struggles. Nobody lacks. Nobody's out there having to go beg somebody else for an opportunity because you created the opportunities in your own household.
Exactly.
So just like super powerful in that. Can you talk about the song?
Which one, Signa? Yeah, so I first did a song about real estate. The very first song I did was the Act Up remix. So I did a cover. I made this song completely about real estate. I mentioned, loans, FHA. I just talked about different loan programs in my song. And I just randomly was like, I love Act Up. Like, I love this song, but what if I made it about real estate? And so I just was in my car. My brother was like, hey, I get my best ideas when I'm driving in my car. So I was just in my car, I turned the instrumental on, and I started making up a song. And I was like, Ma, I'm about to release a song, and I want you to be in the music video. You don't have to, you don't got to be rapping or anything, but I do want you to be in this video so that it could come full circle. So, we recorded the video. I basically had my mom falling asleep, going to a dream, and I'm her younger self teaching the community about real estate. And then she wakes up, she's like, I just had the craziest dream about, So yeah, so I just been creating songs about real estate, just getting the word out there, because that's how my friends learn. I was like, you're going to learn about real estate whether you like it or not. And I always have my little sisters in the video. I have 5 sisters, and my little twin sisters, Troy and Taylor, they're in my last music video, and it's all positive. Like, it's no curse words, and they can sing it with their friends. What I do at my events is I play the song, and whoever can tell me the most, like, they basically have to write out the most real estate related words, and they win the contest. So
I think I'm frozen. Dang.